When we think about proving the existence of a higher power, our minds usually jump to ancient texts or philosophical debates. But what if the proof was right in front of us the whole time? Today, we're diving into the really unique quest of an author named Xu Feng. He set out to prove there's a greatest creator, and his only piece of evidence was the sheer, undeniable beauty of the world.
So let's start with the questions that kicked this whole thing off. Is there some kind of super wisdom, some force in control of everything? And where did any of this even come from? For Sufang, these weren't just questions to ponder. They became a real, personal mission.
Now, what's so interesting is that his starting point wasn't some old book. It was a gut feeling. He had this deep, persistent sense that his life wasn't just a series of random chances, but that he was actually moving along a preset path, guided by some invisible hand. And that feeling is what sparked his entire search for proof.
Okay, so where do you even start with a quest like that? Well, his investigation didn't begin in a church or monastery like you might think. Nope, it all started in a literature class, of all places.
And boom, this one sentence from his teacher, it was like a light bulb went off, a total game changer. What if the evidence he'd been looking for wasn't hidden away somewhere? What if it was everywhere, all the time, just waiting for him to notice? He realized the trick wasn't about finding proof, it was about learning how to see it. And just like that, he was off on this journey. You could call it a mental travelogue, really, revisiting all these moments from his life where he was just floored by natural beauty. He started gathering these memories, these experiences, as his first pile of evidence. His first piece of evidence? The Gobi Desert. He remembers stepping off a bus and just being hit by this vast, endless space. And it wasn't empty. It was full of this powerful beauty he called wildness and wonder. And the proof started with this simple gut reaction that he and everyone else had at the exact same time. Wow, beautiful. Next up, the Great Wall. Standing there, he didn't just see bricks and stone. He saw a massive dragon twisting and turning over the mountains. And this is so key to his whole approach. He wasn't just looking at things, he was perceiving the feeling they gave off. In this case, it was a feeling of valiance and total, unrestrained freedom. Then there's the Yellow River, which was really personal for him. See, he grew up watching its powerful currents, and it always stirred up this deep, surging emotion inside him. Every single one of these places was another piece of his puzzle, another layer for his argument. His travels even took him all the way to Victoria Waterfalls in Africa, and that experience was just overwhelming. The sound was like thunder, shaking the very mountains. To him, this wasn't just a pretty view. It was an experience of tumbling heroism, something powerful and totally fearless. And it wasn't just the big, epic landscapes. He found this proof in everything. The starlight splashed across the night sky, the way an eagle hovers, the simple beauty of grapes on a vine. Even sparkling dewdrops and the sound of birds singing. For him, the whole of nature was this incredible symphony of beauty, and it was all pointing to the same conclusion. All right, so at this point, you'd think the case is closed, right? Nature is beautiful, so there must be a creator. Easy. But then, his journey hits a massive wall. He turns his gaze away from nature and towards people, and this is where his whole quest gets really complicated. Here's the conflict. On one shoulder, he's got the teachings from his upbringing, all the warnings from Jesus and Buddha about earthly temptations. But on the other shoulder, there's this undeniable magnetic pull towards human beauty, a force so powerful he felt it could shatter his entire moral compass. And you can really feel how torn he is. He describes human beauty as this intoxicating but also incredibly dangerous thing. He says its charm is like a sharp sword, something that could just consume a person from the inside out. He felt this intense natural pull towards it, but everything he'd been taught told him it would lead to his ruin. So this all leads him to this one desperate question he basically asks the greatest creator directly. Look, if life is just about survival, we don't need any of this. A little shelter and some basic food would do the job. So why? Why make everything so beautiful, especially if that beauty could be a trap? He's at his absolute lowest point, just totally miserable and confused, and he's pleading for an answer. And right there, in that moment of crisis, that's when the breakthrough happens. He gets this flash of insight that solves his whole internal conflict. And this is it, the answer that just flips everything on its head. Beauty isn't a test. It isn't a trap, it's a gift. He realizes the Creator didn't make the world beautiful to tempt us, but specifically so that we could experience and truly enjoy the beauty of life itself. So, wait a minute, what about all those warnings from Jesus and Buddha? How does he square that? Well, he starts to see them in a whole new light. The warnings aren't telling us to reject beauty. It's more like advice about honey. It's sweet, it's wonderful, and it's meant to be enjoyed. But if you get so obsessed with it that you forget everything else, well, you risk your future. The teachings are a call for balance, not for turning your back on beauty. With this new understanding, with this newfound peace, he finally arrives at his grand conclusion. He found the proof he was looking for all along. Beauty isn't just some nice side effect of creation, it is the masterpiece. And here it is. This is the core of his argument, the destination of his entire journey. The very fact that beauty exists, in all its forms, from a desert landscape to a human face, is the single best piece of evidence that some creative, intentional, and good force is behind it all. So his journey doesn't just end with a personal realization. He leaves us with a kind of charge, a call to action. First, praise the beauty you see in other people, because it's a reflection of the Creator. And second, if you happen to be one of those people blessed with beauty, remember it's a gift. And with that gift comes a responsibility to use it for good. And that's really what I want to leave you with. If we take this idea seriously, that beauty is an intentional gift meant for us to enjoy, what does that change? How should we approach the beauty we encounter every single day, whether it's in nature, in art, or in the people around us?